Ambassador Kennedy, yesterday you made a significant press announcement. I want to ask you a couple of questions. This morning, and only this morning, we were shown, our staff was shown a book, a binder, in camera. The documents in that book all indicate unclassified. Are you prepared to deliver those documents to us at this time?
Mr. Chairman, my understanding is that we did make information available to the committee both last night and this morning, and we have that material still here. We would be glad to meet with the committee or committee staff afterwards.
No, we want it for this hearing. The information, when looked at in camera, was unclassified, but in fact perhaps embarrassing. Will you make that information available at this time so I can circulate it to all the members on the dais?
Mr. Chairman, the information, while individual pieces may be unclassified, the totality of the information is such that it must be considered to be restricted, and the context is all important.
I agree with you. And with that, I now move that the unclassified document of September 11, 2012, appearing above the signature of the Ambassador, be placed in the record. Without objection so ordered, the staff will distribute it to me, the additional ones. Additionally, I move that, that's September 11th again. I move that the document of March 28, 2012 be placed in the record. Without objection so ordered. Additionally, and these will have to be printed, the document of August 2, 2012 from the Ambassador and of July 9, 2012 be placed in the record. Without objection so ordered.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes?
Just so that we'll be clear, you already have the documents? I just want to be clear. That's all.
In real time, a whistleblower has provided us with some of these documents. We confirmed that these documents are similar to the documents being, or identical to the documents being withheld. It is the determination of the Chair that these documents were responsive, unclassified, and appropriate for discovery.
Mr. Chairman, I was just asking if you already had the documents.
Well, if you'll notice, I'm looking at one on an iPad.
You already have them. Okay, that's all I asked.
Yeah, we do have them, and others. So they will be circulated
to both sides?
To both sides, of course.
Thank you.
They are now documents of this hearing and of this. And before I do my opening statement, or before I do my questioning, Ambassador, I don't like doing this. But ultimately, the cooperation we received has caused individuals to say things which are consistent with these documents which are being withheld. And since the documents are unclassified, we can reach no other conclusion but that they are inappropriate. And quite frankly, after my years in the military and my years on the Hill and my years on the Select Intelligence Committee, to say that a broad array of unclassified documents somehow in totality makes classified is to make everything you do unavailable to the Congress. With that, we'll begin the clock. Mr. Nordstrom, you've done a lot of things that I appreciate in communication. October 1st, you sent a statement, an email to Mr. Chaffetz. He read it in his opening statement. Do you stand by that statement?
I do. That was a response, again, as a follow-up to our meeting on the same day, where we discussed a number of documents that you were interested in getting, specifically the list of incidents that we had discussed.
In that statement, basically what you were saying is there wasn't sufficient resources provided considering the escalating, the coming together of what could have and turned out to be a catastrophic attack. Would that be a fair paraphrasing of what you said?
That was one of the main reasons I continued to ask for those resources, yes.
Now, we had an informal meeting with you, bipartisan meeting. In that, you relayed something I think is very important. I asked you about Ambassador Stevens, a very skilled career diplomat, and how he dealt with threats related to security. And you told me, I'm paraphrasing, that, for example, when there was a perceived threat in his running, he ceased running. Then, when both you and Colonel Wood were able to come up with an acceptable way that he could continue by varying where he went and so on, he ran again, but only ran again under your authority and your recommendation. Is that correct?
That's correct, Chairman.
And I think I asked you, was he a compliant officer? Did he do what you thought when you recommended it, or did he chafe at any time over what you thought was best for his security?
At no time did I have any concerns raised to me by Ambassador Stevens. Colonel Wood and I, senior member of the Mobile Security Deployment Team, routinely met with him and discussed general threats, but also specific concerns that we might have about his schedule, his routine, and his meetings. As I noted in that informal hearing, one of the specific threats that we had received that was referenced this morning was a threat that was posted to Facebook. We came across that threat as a result of Senator McCain coming out to post to review the elections that were held in early July.
Okay.
There had been some postings about that, but my point of it is that he was absolutely responsive and he deferred to what our concerns were.
Thank you. Ms. Lamb, yesterday you told us in testimony that you received from Mr. Nordstrom a recommendation but not a request for more security, and you admitted that in fact you had previously said that if he submitted a request, you would not support it. Is that correct?
Sir, after our meeting last night, I went back and at the time.
Well, first answer the question, then I'll let you expand. Did you say that yesterday, that you would not support it if he gave you the request?
Under the current conditions, yes.
Okay. And then last night you discovered what?
I went back and reviewed the July 9 cable from which I was referring, and that was not in that cable. I've been reviewing lots of documents.
Well, we have a July 9th cable. It's one of them that I put in the record.
Yes.
That in fact has the words request. It doesn't meet your standard of perhaps what you call a formal request. You described that, but it does request more assets. If you looked at the July 9, 2012 cable, and this is less than 60 days, roughly 60 days beforehand, it says, summary and action request, Embassy Tripoli requests continued TDY security support for an additional 60 days. Now, yesterday you told us, under penalty of perjury, essentially, that it wasn't a request, it was a recommendation. Does the word request mean request, and are you prepared to say today that they requested these assets above and beyond what they had on September 11th, rather than that they simply recommended?
Sir, we discussed that there was no justification that normally comes with a request. That cable was a very detailed and complex cable outlining what was.
Right. Well, we've now read that cable, and you're right, it is detailed, and in several more places it expresses concerns. The September 11th cable from the now deceased ambassador expresses current concerns on that day. Repeatedly in the cables that were denied to us, what we see is people telling you that al-Qaeda-type organizations are coming together. Now, the problem I have is that the State Department is basically saying, Mr. Nordstrom didn't do his job. He didn't make a formal request with justification. The ambassador didn't do his job. He didn't make a good enough case. And that's what you're standing behind here today, in addition to saying, well, there were 5 people there, therefore. An embassy, or a compound owned by us and serving like a consulate, was in fact breached less than 60 days before, approximately 60 days before the murder of the ambassador in that facility. Isn't that true?
Sir, we had the correct number of assets in Benghazi at the time of 9/11 for what had been agreed upon.
Okay, my time has expired. To start off by saying you had the correct number and our ambassador and 3 other individuals are dead and people are in the hospital recovering because it only took moments to breach that facility somehow doesn't seem to ring true to the American people. With that, I recognize the ranking member. Mr. Cummings, have you received the copies of the cables yet?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.